I was focusing on the threesome, but you're so right. I should have been focusing more on
You also,
On you.
out of being nice, didn't tell everybody that it was my sister, which honestly makes it even better.
I did. I was trying to protect her identity.
She literally texted you back, no, haha, that's hilarious, go for it.
She texted me back.
Yeah. I
No,
don't know if she texted
didn't.
you back in time because I don't trust her to answer in time to anything.
We had this conversation too because then I told you that the next morning she was like, what do you do again? I was like, oh, I do stand up. She's like, please do not talk about this.
Oh, that's so funny. But then you texted her and she was like, I think you had already recorded, and she was like, I actually don't care.
Yeah. Okay. So now
so
everybody
she
knows
doesn't care.
It was Liana's sister,
But
which makes the story so much better.
But
do you know how hard it was for me to not
I
tell
know.
people that?
It was hard for me to listen to you not tell it because it makes the story so much better. That it was like at a really fun wedding. It was at your teacher's wedding.
Yes.
Your Torah teacher's wedding, and you
the
had sex with her sister.
I think you've listened to one of the episodes.
Yeah, I've listened to a bunch of them.
That's crazy.
Well, I
That's
mean,
so nice.
you do talk, like the 4 things you say you talk about are like the 4 things I like to talk about.
Yes.
Well, I don't like to talk about comedy, but I do think I'm funny.
And you are.
So
You
I
could
feel
be
like it
professional.
counts.
And in
You were
class,
saying this
I'm
about a
just saying
rabbi,
that,
like rabbis are all just
They
like
all-
the amount of rabbis I know with theater degrees.
Yes.
Sometimes
Should we just
masters
list
in
them?
theater.
Yes.
They're like, I had a master's in theater and now I am here
I mean-
to teach children how to act. And I'm like, this is definitely what you dreamed of when you did your thesis.
They're like, I'm here for the Purim spiel, and then the
No,
other...
they never take it for the Purim spiel. It's almost like they don't want that. There's
My-
always a really excited lay person who wants to do that.
My childhood rabbi did the Purim spiel every year, played all the parts. Also,
It's a one-person show.
yep, he was iconic, and he honestly crushed. And then he would also do a musical every year, which was often Annie Get Your Gun, and he cast other people.
Can you imagine if it was just him doing the entire and it's like a random Friday. You never know which sermon it's going to be.
The Annie Get Your Gun Shabbat?
It's any day.
And he had a degree in theater, obviously.
He should have, because
Yeah.
honestly,
I don't know
he's
the people.
very good.
Did people get degrees in theater 50 years ago?
That's a good point.
They like no one went to school for no
They
reason
still
back
believed
then.
in capitalism.
They actually had to get jobs after.
People didn't just go to college for no reason. They were like, they're like, this is to do the next thing.
It's true.
Welcome to Yenta, everybody.
Yay!
The podcast that's sometimes about comedy, sometimes about Judaism, and always about gossip.
Gossip.
Today on the podcast we have Liana Wertman.
Yeah, she does it. Take it away, Liana.
Oh my God, this is such an honor. We've been trying to get you on the podcast for months, but you've been so busy at Jewish summer camp.
I bop around in the summer.
Yeah.
Like you said, you are literally in the center of our Venn diagram.
Yes.
You're a world famous Torah educator with the Torah Studio.
World famous.
Look it up online, folks.
TorahStudio.org.
The Torah Studio.
The
Org.
Torah Studio.
Was
TorahStudio.org.
No, we own it,
Bop?
but I was like, we're an organization.
You are an organization.
I used to think there were rules of who was allowed
I think
to
I
become
thought that
or
when I
org.
asked for it. I was like, we are a nonprofit, so org.
Or
Yes.
you are a world famous Torah educator. You're like the face of BCI, which is a young adult Jewish summer institute.
All of those things.
You also sometimes teach at synagogues too, right?
If people will pay me to teach Torah, I have no reason to say no.
Love it.
Pay her to teach Torah.
And you're hilarious and hot are 3
Yes.
interests.
I love confusing people.
So
They meet me and they're like, so what do you do? And I'm like, I teach Bible. Like scholarly. And they're like, oh, okay.
with a mullet.
yeah.
Yeah, they're like, whoa.
I love the
relatable.
mullet.
Oh, thank
Do
you.
you say Bible or Torah?
I say Torah, but like depends who I'm talking to. If I'm in
Yeah.
an Uber, the odds are they don't know what the Torah is, but they know what Bible is. And I'm like, I teach Bible, but Jewish.
Yeah.
And they go-
Torah is cooler than Bible.
I wouldn't say it to a Jewish person, no. But a non-Jewish person is like, I said it yesterday. I was like, I teach Torah, and they were like, oh my God, beautiful. And I was like, well, it's Old Testament, and they were like, oh, I didn't know that was the same thing. And I was like, "But it's not old to us." And then he got really nervous. He was like, "No, I don't think it's old."
It's so hip. It's current.
It's like so old that it's young again.
Came right back around. Retro.
Wait, it's
can
vintage.
Can you just give us like a quick rant, because I love this rant of yours, on why you're not a rabbi, but you are a professional Torah educator?
Well, the number one reason is I don't think I can be an Orthodox rabbi for a lot of reasons that people may or may not understand if they're visually watching this.
Non-Jewish listeners.
Non-Jewish listeners.
By a lot, I mean two.
Yeah, a couple.
There's like, well, okay, this isn't true. I know one place that I could become an Orthodox rabbi.
Maharat.
Yashrut. Well, I guess I'm not Orthodox enough to be a Maharat, but Yashrut's pretty cool. They're like very chill. You have to go to school for like the liberal Jews for 5 years, which is just way too long to go to school. I was done with school and then I went to grad school and I was like, I was right. I was done with school. And most of that time is not studying Torah. It's studying how to like do sermons and studying how to like lead communities and taking care of dead people, taking care of sick people. And it's like, that's all really beautiful. But it also means that when my students come to me after class and are like, and something really bad happened, I'm like, oh my God, that's so sad. I know so many rabbis. But also part of it is like, we're thinking about what it means to be Jewish in this world and like what it means to like take Torah back. And I feel like a queer reading of Torah is that there's no like one person who has access to it. We all should. And so because of that, I think it's really important that people see their teacher also not need an extreme like specific degree to teach. Because even if you know, even if you know that you don't need to be a rabbi to study Torah, people haven't actually really seen that. And so they're in my class and they're like, oh, this person with a mullet who's like feels like a camp counselor is like knows a lot about Torah. Also, I love confusing older folks when I go to the synagogues. My favorite Zoom comment I ever got was, you know, for someone who looks like a high schooler, you're very wise.
And you're just like dropping verses.
And so I was like, you know, like I kind of did all the things that rabbis wish they were doing. And now people recruit me to rabbinical school so hard. Yeah. Like regularly I'm getting asked out to lunch, to dinner. They're like, can I please be a rabbi? Like every time I give a drash at shul. No, of course not. And they also want to just be like, most of the time their argument is like, I mean, you're great. So just why don't you also be a rabbi?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so if I don't need anything other than the title, I don't actually need it. Right. And they're like, maybe one day someone will discriminate against you for not having the title. And I'm like, I run my own business.
Yes.
Who?
Well, give the pitch for Torah Studio for people who might not know what it is.
So the Torah Studio is an online Jewish education space. Hopefully we'll do some stuff in person someday, but mostly online. And the idea is that we're trying to fill all the gaps in and in between Jewish education. So thinking about like if you didn't grow up Jewish or you didn't grow up going to day school or you didn't grow up going to even religious school or so many reasons, coming to Jewish education can be so hard and scary and it's like really big. And even when queer people who I find do a lot of research on their own and know a lot because they're like, I don't trust authorities to tell me this information. So I'm going to just like look this all up for myself. There is something really nice about then taking that knowledge and thinking about not just what the knowledge is, but how to apply it in your life and in community. And so we just try to create as many entry points to Jewish education as possible.
That is so good.
Strong pitch.
Yeah.
Strong pitch.
People should pay you a lot of money for this.
I would love if you would.
For all of our donors listening.
Yeah. For all your donors.
First donate to us. Patreon.com/Yenta.
Yeah. And then they'll come to my classes.
Yes.
But they'll pay for it with your donations. Double donate.
Yep, exactly.
But personally, I went to Torah Studio for
That's how we met.
That's how we met.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Before literally everybody.
Before everybody. I was still in New York at the time. And I saw you on Instagram.
Yeah.
And
it was like high COVID.
High COVID time. Yeah. And I think it was like the first time I came back to learning Torah in a way that was like not triggering for me, which was huge. So thank you to Liana.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then I was like, this person should actually be my friend.
Yeah.
And not just my student.
Your friend.
And then we were like messaging each other when you were on your road trip. Yes. And I remember we got coffee like the week you got here and you were like, I kind of did something crazy on my way here, and I stopped in Austin, which is my last stop, and I did an open mic, and I think I really like stand-up comedy.
That was your origin? Oh my God, that's so nice.
And then I was like, okay, let's keep hanging out. Like, welcome to the neighborhood. Like, you're gay, you're Jewish, I know the people. And then 2 weeks later, I think I showed up at like a Shabbos at Ikar, and you were there, and you knew everyone already. And I was like, hey guys, this is Raye. And they were like, we know.
You were like, how did you do? You know why? It was because I went to a JQ
You did.
gala,
you went to the JQ gala, but I was like, how'd you even get to a JQ gala 2 weeks in? No, it made sense once you told me, but just like, you were like, out of nowhere, I'm here. I know every gay person in Los Angeles who's Jewish.
And I learned last Shabbos from Jay that your entrance to the JQ gala, in his words, made a big splash. Everyone saw Raye. It was your coming out.
It was a very, very particular moment in the gay Jewish West LA community.
Yeah.
the biggest.
No, but you'll know what I'm talking about.
Ray's
Basically,
arrival.
like, COVID, awful.
Yeah.
We all know that.
And then Raye
I know
showed up.
that's a huge thing to say.
Brave, Liana, brave.
This is so brave of me in this climate to say that it was bad. But in like 2021, we're all vaccinated. It's like summer, and we all start hanging out. And it turns out just like a bunch of queer Jews who are religious have moved to the neighborhood and are like, we're going to hang out. We start hanging out all the time. Give it like 6 months. We're all a little bored of each other, and we're like, oh, we really just fell in love because we hadn't seen anybody in a year and not because we're actually like supposed to hang out all the time. And we're like, but it's still really fun that we all know each other. And like, in walks Raye. It was like new kid from comes into high school energy.
Incredible. Incredible.
Sharpay.
And then like immediately dated their way through all of them. Because first it was like, oh, I know Raye. And then it was like, yeah, I dated Raye.
Who?
Oh my God.
Do we want to say
I
no?
don't care. I'll cut it.
I mean, like,
Anyway, but for me, the point of that story was to say how meaningful Torah Studio was for me. So thank you. And look at this full circle moment. Now you're on the pod.
So beautiful.
How did you guys originally meet? BCI.
Ikar.
BCI, but before BCI, at Ikar.
I'm sure I haven't told you this before, but I knew who you were when you probably walked into Ikar.
From the internet?
From the internet. Because I'm also on the internet as a Jewish person.
She was on the
But
internet.
I was like, I don't show my face as much. So people are sometimes like, oh.
Because I knew Torah Studio from the
yeah.
internet,
And I think
but
we
I didn't
both
know that
no,
you
exactly.
were Torah
And I was
Studio.
just like, let's go be friends with that person. And then we were. And then I think we had a conversation right around when you were deciding to come to BCI with like Ken and Steve.
That's
also.
Right.
And then I was like, no, I love it. It was amazing.
That's right.
And then we were all at BCI for the summer.
And then we spent a summer together.
Yeah.
Falling in love.
Falling in love.
And we still haven't actually brought our spouses together into a D&D.
No, we haven't. But that would
Love
require
fest.
not having a tummy ache.
That's
Probably.
the other problem is that we both always have a tummy ache.
We both always have a tummy ache.
And that gets in the way.
Sometimes when there are people who get it, it's the people that you bail on the most.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
One of my best
I'm like-
friends, one of her other best friends just like left the city, and she was like, we got to hang out. Or like her wife was like, we need to hang out more. You need to be hanging out more. I'm really worried about her. And I was like, do you think that we don't hang out because we don't want to? I was like, I've never set a plan with this person that she hasn't canceled.
There you go.
Because she calls me and is like, no.
That's exactly right.
No, I one time pushed her to hang out with me more than once. I was like, no, that's a bad excuse. Hang out with me. And I knew she was mad. And it was because her now wife was like, I need your help getting her out of the house so I can propose to her. And the first thing I said when they told me was like, I'm so sorry that I pushed you to hang out with me that one time. And she was like, forgiven. Like I was mad.
Which is all to say that we are deeply in love and have hung out a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Perfect. Wait, I want to know. Okay. Because I feel like you're better at teaching Torah than everyone. And I hate the way the majority of people teach Torah, which is that they show up with a sheet of paper and then someone has to read out loud the English translation. And then we go and then they ask the dumbest question that we have to get in partners and just spend time talking about this stupid dumb question. Tell me how the world should be teaching Torah.
I don't think it's actually that different.
Like,
And it's fundamentally different. You can do all the same pieces and have it not be dumb. And I sometimes like undersell what we do because I'm like, no, it's like literally just the simplest version of everything, where it's like, I'm going to give you a manageable piece of text, but then I'm going to give you 20 to 30 minutes with another person to study it. And I think it's like, one of the problems is not that the question is stupid, it's that they give you 3 minutes and you're like, hi, person I've never met before.
Yeah.
We have 3 minutes to understand this entire text, think about it, have a response, and then answer that question. And you're like, okay, I guess we'll read this out loud together and then be done.
And also, I think you're really good. I'm just going to answer my question. You're really good at
I love praise, so this is great.
Actually giving the context needed to start answering the questions in a meaningful way, because I think a lot of people will present this text that could be interpreted in a million fucking ways and has a ton of historical context behind it that really changes how you could interpret it. And you're good at guiding people to be like, we're going to think about the historical context, or we're just going to go emotionally. What's your emotional reaction to this? Ignoring the context. I think you're a good facilitator.
Thank
No,
you.
Liana's a fucking epic facilitator. Oh my God, there's like a bug in here that is trying to eat me.
I got one of
Anyways,
them.
You're so juicy.
So delicious.
Yeah, epic facilitator. The other thing that you do that's great is like, you're like, we can either understand the text like as a whole, or word by word, or sentence by, or verse by verse.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is like when I don't, and this is true for a lot of really good education systems, is like I was just like, whatever anyone else was doing sucked, and I was like, what would I do instead? And one of the things was that every time someone paired me into like a leveled like reading group, where I was like, okay, I have terrible Hebrew, which people don't believe me, but I have really bad Hebrew. I've only been learning it for like 5 years, and I have no interest in modern Hebrew, and I am just interested in biblical translation. So you can't really practice that like as well. And
amazing.
I get leveled really low because my Hebrew's bad, and they're like, well, that's what you need. Like, we level everybody from Hebrew. And even then it's like, okay, well, like, so someone studied the same number of years as me. Does that mean that we like studying together? Absolutely not. That person could be the most annoying person in the entire world. Like, who cares how many years you've studied? So I think it's very important that people try to figure out how they like to study, because the text is there. And I think, like you were saying, there's so many options and we can really limit it. And I think what actually limits it is I ask people to stay really true to the text. And so they can only say what they feel if they can also find it in the text. So there's limits. Like, I'm like, that's cool, but like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, that's just not what happened in this text. Or honestly, most of the time they tell that to me. I'll be like, they'll be like, that's not what it said. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank you.
I want to talk about your journey to Judaism.
Yeah.
We almost have like reverse journeys.
Yeah, we
a little
do.
bit. Like, do you identify as a Baal Tshuva?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Baal Tshuva, exactly. Baal Tshuva being, it means Baal, another word for husband, awfully, means master.
It also means husband.
Yeah, it also means husband.
Hot.
And that, yeah, it's so fun having a gendered 3,000-year-old language. And Tshuva means return. So it's kind of the idea that like, we don't proselytize to people outside of the religion, as you know, but we do proselytize inside. Kiruv, to bring close. Yes. And when you're a Baal Tshuva, like, a lot of people, what they're talking about is someone who went like full Orthodox, like totally living a different life. From is like in a secular to Orthodox. And I like to say that I walked up to the line of Mechitza and I was like, I literally won't cross this. I need to be in egal spaces. Which kind of like slowed down how much more I was going to do, which makes sense because I was like, I want to still be queer and cool and fun.
And hot.
It's hard to be fun when you're an Orthodox, like super Orthodox Jew, because
it's impossible.
A lot of the rules are like there because Ashkenazi people were like, we can't have any fun. So what if we made it against the rules?
Except for men drinking on Shabbos. That's fun.
Yeah, because they had nothing else. It was like so cold.
Verified outlets.
It was so cold. There was so little food. There was so much oppression. And they were like,
And I bet the oppression's because we're having too much fun.
No, the oppression is just like, what if we leaned in, right? Go full aesthetic. Like,
what sort of like observances do you take into your life?
I like to say that I'm I act like a very relaxed modern Orthodox person, like who was raised that way. But I keep Shabbos.
Mm-hmm.
I have been smoking weed on Shabbos.
What does keep Shabbos mean to you?
I don't use any technology. I avoid using lights that aren't on timers. No, mostly I just like, to me, I like to follow a lot of the rules of like what not to do for building a separateness from the rest of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about intention to me. So like yesterday was one of my best friends, like of all times, 30th birthday. And it was a hibachi dinner at her house with like cocktails and stuff. And I was like, I want to be there for her 30th birthday. So I booked an Uber the day in advance.
Nice.
Oh, it's so
And
nice.
the Uber picked me up on Shabbos. And it's like Oneg Shabbos. There's the like Shamor, which means to like guard Shabbos, Zachor, to remember Shabbos. Like people often talk about those two as the things.
Mean.
Exactly. And they talk about those two as being kind of like how we balance Shabbat. But there's a third one that we don't always talk about, which is Oneg, which means to enjoy Shabbos. And so I don't make a habit
love that.
Real Torah
yeah,
episode.
I don't make a habit of doing things that break Shabbos. Like I wouldn't like go every single week to see a movie on Shabbos. But if someone was like, my movie just came out and I would like for you to come to this movie, and I would figure out how to get there, because like that's worth it.
I love that.
And I also want to clarify, I didn't ask that question in the way I think it's sometimes asked, which is to be like, so prove it. Are you Baal Tshuva enough? I asked it more because I think it's so exciting to see like the creative, the many ways that you can be observant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that really excites me.
And also some people keep Shabbos just means like having Shabbat meals.
Yeah.
And using their phones. And that's also Shabbos.
No, and I just
Yeah.
love being off my phone.
I know.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I did it for the first time, and it's what made me a Baal Tshuva. I was like,
Tell
oh,
us
this
more.
is... I was
Yeah.
having a Shabbos. It was just a perfect day. It was like a really long summer Shabbos. And I went to like a teacher's house and we ate watermelon, and she led us in like a meditation about eating watermelon. And I had my phone off the entire time. And then I like took a nap that I didn't time. And then I woke up and I went down to the park and had a picnic with all of my friends. And then I came home and I fell asleep again. And, and then I woke up and I was like, well, that was the best day of my whole life.
I love that.
I feel like this podcast is a Shabbos,
Shabbos
evangelism.
We're doing
podcast.
your
Last week
Kiruv podcast.
also.
Shabbos is the most effective Kiruv
But it's
technique.
also the most effective like push away technique for kids that grew up religious. Like it's, and this is what you're saying by the exact opposite of you, is like when you're an adult who's like, I could choose to spend really thoughtful time with my community on Friday nights and get drunk, and that's like part of it. And like Saturday mornings, I'm a Saturday morning shul person. I'm just a community person. So like, I just want to be around people.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not actually praying. I brought a book to shul yesterday.
Do you really do that?
Well, I find Haftorah really boring.
Yeah.
What book did you bring?
I brought
Like
a fantasy novel.
I love that so much. What fantasy book?
It's the second book in Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archive.
Oh, well, sure. I've read every single one. I'm really excited for
Yeah,
the new one to come out so soon.
I'm so
Are
excited.
you rereading?
I'm
so
rereading
that you
it so I can be
caught up?
ready. I also am doing a full Cosmere reread
Oh
so
my
I can understand
God.
the whole thing,
Liana.
which is why it's also big inspiration for my, I don't know when this is coming out, but I'm doing a lesson. It's called like a shiur on Torah as high fantasy.
Oh my God, I've got to go.
And I'm talking about like looking at like a literary critique of like a good fantasy novel as a tool to like read Torah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, highly recommend. I'm very into it. I like did it. I just was like, I want to teach something for Shavuot, which is like a holiday where people do a lot of Torah teaching. And I was like, I want to do something fun.
Yeah.
This year has not been fun.
Yeah.
What's fun? And I was like, well, I've read like 50 to 75 fantasy novels in the last 2 years. I'm going to talk about that.
Liana,
Yeah.
can you just list your tops from this last year?
Tops from this last year.
Sorry, Raye. Sorry to all the listeners.
No. You're all welcome.
I love Harry
Tress of the
Potter.
Emerald Sea.
Incredible, gorgeous. What world building! I could never have imagined.
read it twice in like 3 days.
I'm actually rereading it
Yes.
right now.
It's, if you liked Stardust, the movie and the
Yes.
book, if you
Yes.
liked by Neil Gaiman. If you like kind of like whimsical, silly fantasy.
In a world with physics that you could have never ever imagined.
That's just the best book that he's written.
Incredible.
It's like, it also proves to me that like any weird sexist stuff that he wrote in 2007 was like, he's grown. He's grown.
This is the most amazing thing. This guy, I think maybe still considers himself
he's Mormon. Yeah.
But he's got he's very nuanced about it. And, and his books chart the journey of his like gender and sexuality evolution.
You can watch it happen.
It is wild. It is such a good example of someone who has grown, and that we don't need to cancel someone at the beginning of their journey.
Another version is Ursula K. Le Guin.
Oh, I haven't
Anything
read
by
a ton
her.
of her books. I just read, she's Earthsea, right? I just read Earthsea for the first time.
It was one of the first. It's one of the first. It's considered the first wizard school book.
Oh yeah, well, it's great wizard school.
Yeah.
Okay, what were your other tops from this last year?
Ursula K. Le Guin, anything by her. Also a huge like growth. She got called out by feminists for not being feminist enough in the 70s and was like, oh, you're right, and then ended up a full anarchist by the end and was like, yeah, amazing. Who else? I really liked the Devabad trilogy by S.A. Chakraborty. Really cool. It like is fantasy from the realm of like Middle Eastern traditions. So like
what's the book?
jinn and like genies.
Is it what's the first name? The name of
City
the
of Brass.
I think I read it. Is it a hot lesbian police investigator?
No.
I read
It's
it.
not a hot lesbian.
I read a different jinn book.
Yeah. But these are really good. I've been really into novels that help me process politics of these last few months, and a lot of it is like people who are who feel stuck in certain political situations, and then are like, even when they do the bad things, are like, oh, that wasn't the only option and it sucked.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great list.
Okay. And scene.
Okay, back to Judaism.
No, keep going. I love that.
You were literally like,
I was like, can I look at my text right now, or is that rude?
you're just like, I'm looking them up actually. Yeah. Just looking up the covers.
I'm happy for you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
you can
you
cut
so
that.
much.
I will, because that was boring. No.
Just put it as like secret clip. Liana and Antonia discuss fantasy
I'm sure
novels.
a lot of our listeners are into that. And listen, I'm into that. If
let's
I
be
was
real.
keeping
Our
Shabbos,
listeners
maybe
are
I would read it
nerds.
too. Yeah.
I also love an audiobook though. I'm a big audiobook fan.
I'm okay. Here's my thoughts on audiobooks. They are valid, but do not tell me that you read a book when you listen to it.
I have reread a lot of books that I listened to first, and I remembered every single thing from the first time around.
I don't agree with you. You're still absorbing the information.
I also think you might not be, but I am.
Maybe fine, but it's so much easier to not be paying attention to a book when you're just listening to it, because you could be doing a million other things.
That's true. But I also hold a lot of space for someone telling me they read a book, but they maybe skipped a couple pages. That to me is fine. You can skip a couple pages.
I'd rather talk about Judaism. Okay, wait. So you're Baal Tshuva. You did the Shabbos.
Baal Tshuva.
You
Did the Shabbos.
And then you were like, I'm in.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I think especially the communal aspects.
Yeah.
Felt like, oh, this balances out the kind of intellectual side and it makes it more
Yes.
spiritual because it's never happening alone.
Are there any like community or like Orthodox adjacent spaces in LA that are not Pico Robertson?
No.
Fuck.
Well, because a lot of the Tridigal spaces people need to walk.
Exactly.
But so
I
like,
know.
where are you going that everybody around there walks?
That's
Exactly.
and that it's Tridigal.
the thing in New York. There's so many of those little spaces. There's
Yeah, but
like-
also people
everyone
walk
can
everywhere.
walk.
No, but I mean,
They also have smaller
like little pockets.
Pockets.
Yeah, right. So like
Whereas-
Crown Heights is one, Upper West Side is one, downtown
Washington
is
Heights.
one. Yeah, they have so many little ones.
Yeah.
I don't want to live in Pico Robertson, but I also do want to be like Trad Egal.
Pico Robertson is a
But
great
that's my
place to be
only
Jewish
option.
and a bummer place to be a human.
I mean, like
That sucks.
Yeah,
we
I
were
know.
Not a good pitch.
I wasn't trying to pitch you.
Are you
It's just
still moving
fact.
to
Yeah, I'm
Idlewild?
still moving to Idlewild.
Fuck off.
really
Yeah, we want to move to the mountains
soon.
hopefully around November.
That's so exciting.
very
Oh my god,
exciting.
you and the dog mayor.
The
Dog mayor.
I was like, what? Give me a second. So how are you going to be Jewish in Idlewild?
What do you mean?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that.
No, that's a great point.
You know what I mean? Like
You're
you're
not-
saying
no,
it's
if-
about community.
How are you going to have
Of course you can be
a
Jewish
big
in
Jewish
Idlewild.
community?
I'm
There's a
sorry.
few things. Well, one, it's close enough to LA that hopefully we can come visit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very cool.
We have a shul that we love very much and just like want to be with anyway. And
Yeah.
so,
In Idlewild?
no, in LA.
Oh, yeah.
Should we
There
shout
are-
out the shul?
Yeah, shout out Stiebel.
Stiebel.
If you want to come to High Holidays, they're amazing. They're
Yeah.
beautiful and they're free. You just have to
that's
sign up.
huge.
That
yeah.
is a really good
gorgeous.
flex.
You're gonna
Yeah.
get an influx of people. Be careful.
We'd love that.
There's a lot of listeners on this pod.
Good.
No, I don't know. I'm joking.
Good. Just get really aggressive.
Maybe I'll go to Stiebel this year.
It's a
I'm
great
not
option. It's
going to
literally
Ikar.
free.
It
it's
is
smaller.
miserable at Ikar.
I can't even imagine how hot it's going to be.
Wait, why was it miserable?
Because every
It's so
single
many
person is
people.
showing up for the first time all year, and they're sitting there restraining their little bodies because they don't know how to be in Jewish spaces in a casual way because they never go to Jewish spaces, and then they're staring at you every time you move or make sound or act casually, judging you because they don't know that you're allowed
You gotta sit
to
up
be
front.
casual.
You got to sit up front for those things.
Yeah,
so that they're behind you.
But then the problem is, I want to be really casual up front. I want to be schmoozing when I want to schmooze, and that's hard to do up front. I don't want to be feeling it deeply the entire time.
But there's a deep power move to getting up from the front and then going to schmooze with people.
That's a great point.
You're like, you walk up front, you sit down, you close your eyes and you sing. Everyone's like, oh my God, she's so spiritual.
She is so Jewish.
And then you
it's
get
crazy.
up the first second that you're bored.
Yes.
You get up and everyone else is
I'm
sitting
outta
there
here.
thinking, I'm bored. Am I allowed to be bored? And you get up and you go schmooze in the back and they're like,
It's true. Modeling is so important.
you have to model for people
You
how to
gotta
be
model.
fun and cool
you
at
bring
shul.
out your fantasy book.
Oh my
in the
God.
back.
Yeah. People really do love to just like, they like have no idea what's happening. And
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good or bad thing. It's like if you there's lots of
really
good reasons
do
to only
need
come in on high
good
holidays.
modelers.
And that's a very wonderful way to be Jewish if that's what's meaningful to you. Or if it's meaningful to you to do something that's not meaningful out of like obligation.
And I also think that it could be cool if a shul knows that the majority of people are showing up there for
Right.
the only time this year, to be a little more clear that you're allowed to embrace your Judaism with more casualness and freedom, and you don't have to be the perfect little student. That might also help if the people running the show acknowledge that.
Well, also I think some people love a show.
Especially
Yeah.
at Ikar.
Well, no, I don't mean
Which
like
is good
true or
because-
not, but some people just love, they're like, I want to go, I want to watch it happen. I kind of want to like
don't wanna
experience something that
participate.
feels very produced and clean and straightforward. If you want that, don't come to
Which,
Stiebel.
yeah.
Good for them. And these can all exist within the same space.
Yes. But I don't want that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You mean within the same physical space or within Judaism? 'Cause
In
I
the
don't think
same-
they can exist in the
I don't
same
think it can
physical space.
exist in the same
Thank
physical
you.
space.
Yeah.
I
You could have
think-
two minions in the same physical space.
yeah. But not in the same minion.
You can have a breakaway minion.
I was so mad because I'm being dramatic, but last year they played "Fix You" by Coldplay at Ikar.
Played it or like
Sang it.
performed
They
it?
performed "Fix You" by Coldplay at Ikar
They love
on
that.
Yom Kippur,
They had,
and I was like,
I'm gonna get in trouble.
no, but Antonia had a really fair point, and like, do you
What
remember
was
us
my
talking
point?
about this? You were like, for some people, like this is their only entrance into the Jewish.
Eric
prayer.
Garcetti sang Blowing in the Wind by Bob Dylan after he explicitly told us he didn't practice, and we were all standing for it on Yom Kippur
At Stiebel or
at Ikar. And I was like,
incredible.
I'm going home.
Yeah, so Stiebel. Should we get to secrets?
Yeah,
Ooh.
because you
Liana
said you had a
teased
good
us,
one.
I've been waiting this whole episode to like
I know.
hear it.
Oh my God.
Well, there's like layers of this secret.
Great.
Am I starting?
We've got time. The listeners, they can sit here
We
for
love
3 more
secrets.
hours.
So one of the joke reasons that I was invited onto this podcast was to tell
No joke reasons, all serious reasons.
serious reason. I'm here to let you all know that Raye had their threesome at my wedding.
The listeners are like, which one?
Which threesome?
Which threesome? The one that they got the cops called on them.
Yes, yes.
And I'm also here to let you know that out of kindness, but unnecessary kindness, they didn't tell you a few details.
Listener, if you don't know the story about the threesome at the wedding, go to Lucas Zelnick's episode.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
It came out on my birthday, and I sat there and I listened to it while I was having a full anxiety attack about not having brought cash, and I couldn't park to go to Wii Spa.
Oh my God.
So that was a thing.
So I pulled over and I sobbed, and then I listened to your podcast.
And then I had Shabbos with you a few months later, and you were like, I can't believe you didn't tell everybody it was my wedding.
And I can't believe you didn't tell everybody how hot I looked.
Yes, I didn't. Yes.
How fun the wedding
and
was.
Everyone should know Liana is so hot. I mean, now they can see. But the wedding was amazing. I talked about how amazing the wedding was.
Not enough.
you?
Not really.
Not enough. I'm so sorry.
I remember. I was sore about it.
Yeah, you know.
But I did hear a lot offline about how amazing the wedding was.
Yeah.
So they
And
are.
I was like, if you're gonna look, I was like, if you're gonna talk about it, just
Listen, I
like
was
also
focusing
compliment
on,
me.
I was focusing on the
Come
threesome,
on.
but you're so right. I should have been focusing more on
You
you.
also,
On you.
out of being nice, didn't tell everybody that it was my sister, which honestly makes it even better.
I did. I was trying to protect her identity.
She literally texted you back, no, haha, that's hilarious, go for it.
She texted me back.
Yeah. I
No,
don't know if she
she
texted you
didn't.
back in time because I don't trust her to answer in time to
We
anything.
had this conversation too because then I told you that the next morning she was like, what do you do again? I was like, oh, I do stand up. She's like, please do not talk about this.
Oh, that's so funny. But then you texted her and she was like, I think you had already recorded it. And she was like, I actually don't care.
Yeah. Okay. So now
So
everybody
she
knows
doesn't care.
It was Liana's sister,
But
which makes the story so much better.
But the
do you know how hard it was for me to not
I
tell
know.
people that?
It was hard for me to listen to you not tell it because it makes the story so much better. That it was like at a really fun wedding. It was at your teacher's wedding. Yes. Your Torah teacher's wedding, and you had sex with her sister. But here's
So
the
good.
secret, though.
Okay.
Someone one-upped you. And someone, I'm going to underplay it because it's still so good. It's still only questionable if this is actually when it happened, but it's possible that a baby was conceived at my wedding. Not after, at my wedding.
No.
Stop.
Yes.
Where?
I'm going to keep that quiet.
No, you have to tell us.
No, I don't. I think it's clear. I mean, I don't know like that many specific details, but they were basically like,
How long ago was the wedding?
well, I saw them at a different person's wedding and they were like, the reason people are talking about this is because we are currently 12 weeks pregnant and your wedding was exactly 12 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's exact, it's like questionable, but they were like, yeah, you can say that it was at your wedding.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Where would they have sex in the bathroom?
You should have gotten
Yeah, probably.
pregnant.
I should have.
You should have.
You should have
Why
gotten
didn't your
pregnant
sister
at the
impregnate
wedding.
me?
Great question.
I honestly think the threesome is better. The threesome and the cop story is
I think
better.
the fact that it's at the
I
wedding
think the
beats
fact
you.
that it's at the wedding actually
Yeah, the
gives
fact
you
that
a run for your money.
and that they actually got pregnant.
After the wedding, whatever.
After the wedding,
Listener,
whatever.
Listener, write in.
You can decide.
What do you think is better, getting pregnant at a wedding or having a threesome after a wedding with the bride's sister and getting the cops called on you at 4 a.m? I think I win.
I think
they got
you're
pregnant,
both,
though.
I think you both are such special snowflakes. And
I'm gonna give you both awards.
It's a competition.
You get award. I got awarded best urban farm formal outfit, and at the wedding I went to,
What the fuck?
I was like, "Thank you."
Farm formal?
It was at an urban farm.
That track.
It was at an urban farm.
Because I thought that was just a new style descriptor for your style. And I
No,
was
they were
that
just like out of
couldn't-
nowhere, urban farm formal.
Urban farm formal actually couldn't be a better descriptor for your entire fashion sense.
Absolutely. Yes. But so I was like, all right, everybody, I need a little more attention. My husband's summer camp has a rule that there's no body talk. So you can't talk about people's bodies. No hair talk, no talk. It's an amazing rule, except that no one was complimenting my outfits all summer.
That's fucked
and
up.
I really thrive on people complimenting
Oh
my
my God,
outfits.
yeah.
Outfit.
Thank you. And I was just like, this is hard for me. And the kids
that
left
must
and
be
a
so
counselor
hard.
was like, I love your outfit. And I was like, what are all the outfits you haven't been telling me you liked?
You do have great style.
Yeah, you really do. Notably fantastic
And
style.
you wore a beautiful suit at your wedding, which I love.
I love these compliments.
Yeah, you looked amazing.
Where did you get your suit from?
Favorite daughter.
Favorite daughter.
It's just like a boutique here in LA.
I feel like I've heard of it.
Wait,
Yeah.
did I see pictures
There's
of you at
a-
your wedding or did I see something else? Have you posted?
I posted it
Oh.
when I first got married, and then I posted it the other day.
No, hold on.
I posted. I was
and
like, hey, by the way, I got
also have to
married.
say what you posted. It wasn't your wedding, but
Oh,
it
it's
was
the second
someone
one.
else's wedding.
Because I've been to 6 other weddings
Yes.
this year, and so including being in 2 of them, like in
Is
the
it
party.
on the Torah Studio account?
No, it's on mine.
Oh, you don't follow each
Do
other.
I even?
Oh,
Yeah,
here,
I
wait.
don't think
I even
private.
knew
I'm
you
very
had,
private. I probably did that on purpose. I have like under
and-
200 followers,
and
but you can follow me.
and
I'm not going to say it
unfollow
out
you.
loud.
And unfollowed me, and then followed
Refollowed
me,
you.
and then unfollowed me, and then refollowed me after your
Hey, I
wedding.
can't even
Yes.
search it.
No, because I'll tell you later why.
Okay, you'll tell me later.
It's also like not your name at all.
No, not
Yeah,
at all.
Liz
Not even
knows
close.
Anyway, but I love the picture that you posted of like all the bride and like the brides. I don't know.
The one that looked like I was in a.
You were like a model, like a. It
Yeah.
looked so fucking cool. Let me
We
show
looked
you.
like we were in a like. What is it? Multiple people. I'm just like losing this word. Reality show. Multiple people were
Yeah,
like,
but
"You
it was
look
like-
like you're in a reality show."
But it was like sexy. And
No, I know. She had the sexiest wedding I'll ever have been to in my whole life.
I want
This
that
is the same friend whose birthday was last night.
Where the fuck is my
Oh,
phone?
with the hibachi.
Yeah, it was an
Amazing.
amazing wedding in Mexico City.
Wait, I have a question for you. As a
We'll
newly
look at it
married
later.
person, do you feel like anything has changed in your relationship now that you're married?
My husband loves me more.
Really?
I only know it. No, I'm not joking. I think he just decided he was like, I don't know. He's very like a very literal person. He was just like, we're married now. I make her lunch. That's the main difference is he feeds me a lot more now.
Oh,
In a way that it was like fully, we were working together in the same house the entire year. We were both working from home. Never made me lunch. One time we got married, starts making me lunch every day.
Aww.
Don't know what
great.
changed, but that's the only difference.
incredible.
That and now instead of getting really excited and going, I'm going to marry you, I go, I'm married you.
Yeah.
That's cute.
And sometimes I go, I would marry you again. And because I'm like
Aw.
still used to, because it's still new. But because I've been to so many other people's weddings, like before, like after and since, like I just feel really like I've been married forever. Because my wedding feels so long ago.
There were
now.
so many other weddings.
There were so,
Do
none of them
you-
were in the same place.
Do you judge everyone else's wedding compared to your own?
The first few were tough because I loved my wedding so much.
Yeah.
And now that things have calmed down a little bit, I'm like, okay. I don't need to be this full of myself all the time. Like these are beautiful weddings and other people have different excitements than me. But I think too much in the like, I know how I would have planned this because I
Yes.
literally just did it.
Yeah,
And I now have a year's worth of information that is deeply useless.
Exactly, that you're never gonna need again. You
Like
spend
how
a
to
year
plan a
becoming an
wedding?
I'm
expert.
desperate for people to ask me for advice on weddings
Yes.
because I'm like, I have about a year of this information and it's just worth it for me to say it out loud. I love talking about things.
what
so
part of the wedding? Like
any part, any part,
Like the
especially if we
ceremony?
want to, especially if people want to talk about like egal Jewish weddings.
Yeah. I love talking about that shit.
I'm a huge fan of talking about that.
Did you hear on the whatever which it was a Yentas only
It was a
episode.
Just Us episode.
Yeah, because we went to this queer Jewish writers retreat and a huge thing I was
Yes.
talking about was like degendering weddings, and a huge problem that I have with Orthodox weddings are like only men can say the blessings.
Yeah.
And this person who was amazing was talking about how like there's a difference between blessing brachos shel mitzvah and brachos shel shevach. Have you heard of this concept?
I think on the podcast.
Oh, okay, fine. I don't have to repeat it, but like whatever, listener, go back and listen to it. But like blessings of praise or blessings of commandments and like just the all the like halachic Jewish law intricacies of the ceremony are so interesting, and like most of them aren't even halacha, from what I understand. Like a lot of them are just like minhag, custom passed out.
Yeah, but a lot of people do
only-
think that minhag, if your custom is there, it's like basically as good as
Yeah,
halacha.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, also it's part of it is like, you know, if you believe that only men can say blessings publicly regardless, right? Of course that only men could say it at the wedding. But if you don't believe that, then like things get switched up. Like I was at a gay Orthodox wedding this summer and it was like two men and they had only women doing the Sheva Bracha with a modern Orthodox rabbi who was like seeing it. And
Interesting. But
there are
they're
people
like the rules don't matter anyway because they're gay.
I guess so, but
Yeah.
like I think that that's also part of it, right? Like what does it mean? I mean, when my husband and I got engaged, I thought a lot about what does it mean to be able to just have a normal ketubah?
Yeah.
when that's not something that either like necessarily represents my values or is something that everybody I know or even I could have had in every single situation. So what would we have gotten no matter what, right? Like kind of taking it out and being like, great, well, like I don't have a relationship that's based on me being a woman and him being a man. So why would our ketubah be about that?
So what did you guys do?
We had a ketubah that was written by Rabbi Raye Cohen, who I love very much. And he was there. He's the one
Jewish
who read
meditation?
it. No, that's Raye Kaplan.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And
he's
he...
dead.
Yes.
Nah.
I found it online and I was like looking up egalitarian ones. And this one is in Aramaic, which is what normal ketubahs are written in.
Also, what is a ketubah?
Ketubah is a Jewish wedding contract, and they're like based off of stuff that's in Torah, and they're like codified about 2,000 years ago. And people love to talk about how they're like super advanced for 2,000 years ago, and how they allowed women to have divorce, and how they did
talk about that.
and how they like it protects women, and like yes, and it also is a legal sale of a human being to another person. So it's like kind of confusing, but a lot of the language is like I promise to take care of you and to support you and to like make sure you have everything you need, like that you become my responsibility essentially. And so we found one that essentially just was like, what if we just did this twice? Like what if these are two people who are committing these same things to one another? So it was very long. If you remember in the ceremony when someone got up there with a long beard and just read Aramaic for a really long time.
It didn't feel so long to me, but
thank you. It felt long to me, but then I was like, this is my wedding.
Yeah. Did people complain?
No, Joe was like, this is long. And I was like, you just got nervous. But it was really beautiful and I loved it a lot. And it was like very, like it was, you know, it was very traditional, but it was just double.
Yeah.
And
what other degendering stuff did you do?
We both gave each other rings.
Yeah.
We like just kind of doubled everything.
What about,
we said the same words to each other under the chuppah. And I remember, I think we added something that made it like sweeter.
Did you do bedekin?
No. Didn't do bedekin. I was anti, which is like when you veil.
Yeah.
And it's like not only that you veil under the thing, but also there's like a moment where the like man comes and puts the veil over you.
So I heard an
not into it.
Well, if you've probably heard this already if you listen to the podcast, but something that people do to like do that in an egalitarian way is like they'll both put something onto each other.
Yeah, I think in a sense we did it when we put talises on each other.
Yeah, you kind of did that, yeah.
And I also wore a kittel, which I felt
we talked about the kittel. Antonia hates the kittel.
Yeah.
What do you think about
Concept?
I mean, I love it because I wore it.
Love fashion.
So yes. So nightmare. So I was like, well, I'm obviously not going to just wear anything. So we bought nice linen ones online. I like ordered nice linen ones because I was like, I'm not going to be buried in polyester.
Come on.
But also I'm going to be buried in this, so I might as well like buy something nicer. Like this is also a lifelong investment.
Yes.
And then I had our friend Becky Portman do the embroidery on the bottom, and I had her embroider flowers onto the bottom.
She does embroidery.
And she embroidered like the wedding date onto the bottom. So now I have these like beautiful flowers at the bottom of it. And so it was kind of like, okay, this feels like me. Yeah, I just like liked the idea that we were like putting on something that was like, oh, and I'm thinking about how this affects the rest of my life.
And it's this marriage.
Yeah.
And you're gonna wear it.
You can wear it on Yom Kippur. You can wear it on.
This is gonna be your first year.
Yeah, it is. And then you can wear it on like a Passover. Some people wear it, but I think that's it. Yeah, no, most of them are really ugly and they're like gross, but like. Because they're all polyester. They're all just like $50 and you're polyester and you're like, yeah, I'll get it.
The drape is terrible.
Yeah. It's not the best fit, I'll be honest. But I didn't wear the belt. I was like, We're going robe. We're going like open robe.
I love
vibes.
that.
Yeah. I need to show off the outfit.
The belt often makes it worse.
The belt makes it worse.
Yeah. Wow. I love that.
This is one of my least, nobody likes this take, but also nobody disagrees with it. There's this Hasidic tradition that some people do, and I find like a lot of like Baal Tshuva Hasidic like spiritual people do it, where they tie, have you seen this, where the belt around
to
there
cut off their genitals.
So they cut off the relationship to their genitals, and my feeling, and so they're like, they wear like the little tie around their waist. And other people have always been like, wow, they're really trying to be like intentional and holy. And I'm like, I just feel like it's so rude to walk into shul and be like, hey, everybody, I am not thinking about my penis. I would like you to look at how I'm not thinking about my penis. And I'm like, well, now I'm thinking about your penis at shul. And that's the opposite of the point. It's like the least sneeze thing I've ever seen in my life.
You are so right. All I think about is Hasidic penises.
When they're wearing those things at shul, why not?
Nothing but penis.
Why would that not be what everybody's thinking about now?
I think that's a good take. I think you should bring that up with them.
I'm bringing it up with you who watch.
All the Hasidim that watch.
All the Hasidim that watch this
I think
show.
we have some closeted Hasidim.
I'm sure.
that
I hope
DM
you
me
do.
And watch that.
Yeah.
And we love
And
you.
we love you and your penises.
We love your penises.
Okay, was that your secret?
That is one of my. I have extra secrets just in case.
Yeah, give us.
But I didn't. Well, one of them was about me being a child, and you said no childhood secrets.
Yeah.
Something more relevant today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No childhood secrets.
No childhood secrets. Every kid does weird shit.
Yeah. Even if I was Gossip Girl.
No. XOXO.
XOXO.
It was when the first thing was coming out, and my friend and I started a blog where we wrote mean gossip about people, and then we felt bad about it pretty immediately and just ghosted it.
What would your modern day Gossip Girl of the Jewish community say?
Good question.
Well, did you ever? Oh, I don't know that you get. There was for a few years a Twitter account that was just shul gossip.
No.
And it was a fully anonymous Twitter. And it was like the craziest Twitter because like shit would come out all the time from this, and they would like get tips from people that was like shul gossip, and it was wild. And then they finally told everybody who they were. I would do that. Yeah, I would be like,
What was it like? Was it like this person's having an affair?
I'm honestly forgetting. I think a lot of it was more like Jewish professionals. Like it was like vibes at different things, or like when people were, I don't remember exactly, but it was cool.
Do you
I
have
was
a
like,
piece of gossip that you can anonymize maybe and say right now?
About Judaism?
Yeah, about the Jewish community.
The West LA Jewish community.
Oh. Let's see. I can anonymize one, but I'll tell you guys who it is later.
Okay, great.
And it's also about a famous person.
Great.
Oh.
Well, because I met a famous person at Shebrew Shabbat one time.
Incredible.
I think you told me
I think I've
this.
told you this.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't say famous.
I would say now they are in our world, in the people who watch
You're
this.
right, you're right.
Enough that I shouldn't mention them.
Okay, great.
Enough. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like I love flirting. So I was like, okay. And then they found out that I had a boyfriend, and they were like, oh, so you're not gay. And I was like,
Bury them.
okay, funny, hurtful, but
Classic.
understandable. And then they found out that I was patrilineal, and then they were like, oh, so you're not Jewish either.
Oh boy.
And I was like, this is a different energy. And then they were still flirting with me. And then they came to one of my classes.
Really?
They came to one of my classes.
Yeah.
They interrupted everybody the entire time. And then on Instagram, I messaged them being like, thanks for coming. And they were like, yeah. That was cool. If you ever decide to be queer again, hit me up.
Oh my God. This person's such an asshole.
Do you know who it is?
No. Can you
don't-
say it? Can you say it right now? We'll cut it.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Stop. Stop.
But like also everything that she just said tracks.
That tracks.
Exactly. I've heard her say every single thing that
Yes.
you said on a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So at least
yeah.
it's consistent.
My.
It's
God.
consistent.
She's exactly who
Yeah,
she is.
she's
She's
very
exactly.
consistent.
I love it though.
My God. I was
you
going
love
to
it?
say.
I kind of, I mean, it was mean, but it was also like the more famous they get, the more fun the story gets.
Yeah. It's a
So
fun
I'm into
story,
it.
so
It's a great
you're happy
story.
about the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, you really hit
The amount of
Peter
times
with
that
this
like
story.
weird romantic things have happened to me, and I was just the whole time like, this is such a good story. This is so weird. Lean in.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that this is an insane way to flirt with someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
by,
negging.
by negging them
It's negging.
so hard. But now I understand that that's their vibe.
Yeah, but also like negging as a vibe is like very late 2000s, like
Very.
straight guy, like the like
Very.
yeah, like the whole plot of Silver Linings Playbook that I just watched for the first time on a plane
Great
like
movie.
3 months ago.
You're really hip.
I'm so hip. I found out what Brat Summer was because I told my friend that I was doing the Brat diet for my Crohn's.
That's
And
the
she was like-
funniest thing I've ever heard.
She was like, "Oh, you know, Brat?"
Brat Summer.
And I was like, "Yeah, Brat." And she was like, "What? Do you know what that means?" And I was like, "It's when you're
It's bananas,
sexually."
rice, and applesauce.
I was like, "The way you're saying it, I don't think you mean what I mean. I think you mean like when you're sexually bratty and you don't give back." She was like, "You're an idiot." and you don't have Instagram.
Brat Girl Summer crossover brat diet.
I couldn't even make the joke about it though because I lost out on it.
That's the most relatable thing I've
What is
ever
brat
heard.
diet?
Banana rice applesauce toast, baby.
Oh.
It's what they tell you in college to eat if you're sick.
Yeah.
It's like how they teach college kids to take care of themselves.
It's low fiber, simple carbohydrate, theoretically easy to digest if those things agree with you. It's easy to digest for most people.
Most of those things do agree with me, and most of those things I can digest, and most other things I can't.
There you go. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Should we do secrets?
Yeah, I want to hear your secrets.
Okay, give us a good one, Raye.
I don't want to.
Wait. What's going on?
No, nothing.
The podcast gets really sad. Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we're out of time.
Oh no.
It's been an hour. I guess we'll have to stop.
What's happening?
There's nothing happening.
Oh, we're stopping for time?
No, I'm joking. That was a joke.
That was a bit.
Yeah, that was
I'm
a
just
bit.
getting overly concerned
We're
about a
so
bit.
concerned about you.
I'm like dying of heat right now.
It is very
Yeah,
hot.
I can tell.
And I'm like, can you see my upper lip is glistening?
No, I'm sure
It's
you just
not
look
actually.
dewy and beautiful.
Oh wait, my secret is, and Liana, I'm curious if you know this, if you felt this, but like as we were talking, like on Instagram, on my way here, I had a huge crush on you. She knew.
I don't think I knew or didn't know, but it's also like having a crush on your gay teacher.
You're like, I'm used to it.
Is like not new.
Yeah.
And it's also
everyone
like
that comes to my class has a crush on me.
no, but it's also
And that
like
is true.
It's
Yeah.
also one of those things where it's like
Yeah.
that's kind of the fun of it. I think
Yeah.
is that people can like have a bit of a crush on me and not ever think anything's gonna come of it,
Yeah.
and like it's kind of fun. And I was a counselor, so also like campers used to, it's kind of one of those things where I'm like I don't assume that it's like a crush. I assume it's like a wow, you make me feel heard and seen.
Yeah, sure. That's what it was.
And you're hot.
I thought that was a fun secret.
That
to
is a fun
reveal on
secret.
the
I think
pod.
it's a good one. You've never told me
I'm
that
like-
before.
I'm like really shy now.
Oh.
And I'm also sweating because it's really hot in here.
It's really hot.
Okay, Antonia, finish telling us about your secret.
Okay, here's my secret. Okay, on the topic of weddings,
Ooh.
look, this is not going to be a vulnerable secret because really this is just a good story about a wedding, but this is technically a secret. So I think you know this. So we got married, me and Artem got married at a place called Storm King, which is this big sculpture park in upstate New York. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Is it the one that was in
Master of None?
Yeah.
It's exactly
That one.
Yes, wow, good memory. In fact, that's how I found out about it.
Oh,
I
fun.
saw
You were
the
like, I
Master
wanna
of
get
None
married
episode
there.
and I was like, that's cool. That's close to me. I went there and then we were like, we should get married here. Okay, it's gorgeous. And when you want to get married at a gorgeous venue, it normally costs a huge amount of money. So we first did some investigating about how much it would cost. It was so far out of our budget. Our budget was also $3,000, which if you haven't planned a wedding, you might not know that is.
It's just like the cost of one plate of food.
That is so beyond.
That's
small.
just the two of you like maybe taking pictures at that place.
Exactly. That's about the cost of a cheap photographer, like a
cheap photographer.
like a bad photographer.
Yeah.
So we were not up for paying Storm King costs. So we then called them and we were like, what would you do if you had a 50-person family reunion walking around together? Is that a problem? And they were like, do you want a discount?
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
So we got the group tour discount and we told all of our guests, you have to say you're here for the reunion. You cannot say the word wedding. Do not dress like you're going to a wedding. We made a Pinterest board filled with practical hiking outfits
For weddings.
for weddings. It includes one picture of Obama in like dad shorts and a pager. And we were like, this practical sneakers, khaki shorts with
You're
big
undercover.
pockets. You're undercover. Don't talk wedding. And almost everyone did a good job. 2 people came in shirts that did say Lasar Yatsenov family reunion.
I was gonna ask, did they get it for everybody?
Which it was just for them.
I feel like they should have at least gotten it for you.
Well, they gave the shirts to us afterwards. Sweaty and loved.
So sweet.
Which was so sweet. The back said, definitely not a wedding.
So funny.
But they wore little shirts covering the back.
Brilliant.
The only person who didn't follow the rule was my uncle, who showed up in a full black suit. And because he's so posh, he refuses to acknowledge that there could possibly be a wedding where you weren't supposed to wear a suit. And that was really bad for him because it was a moving wedding. We were extremely clear that this was a walking wedding and you should wear walking shoes. And we did have accessible options for people who couldn't walk. But then he said he wanted to walk. He didn't want to take the accessible options. But then he was in dress shoes, and it was a very him.
How do you do a walking wedding?
Did you have a ceremony? Did you have a rabbi?
A pastor?
I don't know. A person.
And if you look over here, you can see the couple getting married.
Yeah, we had a rabbi. Do you know Ariana Katz? I feel like you would know her.
That sounds familiar.
She's big in Rabbis for Ceasefire. She's in Baltimore. She runs something called Hinenu. I forget. She's great. You would
all familiar.
Love her. Her and her spouse, who's a lawyer, I went to college with the two of them, and they co-officiated, and we spent months dividing up the Jewish wedding ceremony into 7
that's so sweet,
interactive immersive theater experiences that happened at 7 different sculptures all through the park, and it was very experimental. And then we paused the wedding before we got all the way up to the Sheva Brachas, and then we paused and went to an Airbnb nearby, had 5 hours of partying and food, and then ended with the rings and the glass. The whole night ended.
I feel like I've seen
That's really
pictures
fun.
of you in a white dress.
No.
What were you wearing?
No, I was wearing a red dress.
Oh, a red dress. Did you wear that on the hike or at the end?
No, the whole time I was wearing a red dress and red sneakers, and Artem was in like a floral tracksuit.
Amazing.
Yeah, we looked so good. But we bookended with ceremony.
That's amazing.
Because we both think the ceremony is the most compelling thing, and that the party should be part of the ceremony. So we rearranged and we put the party in the middle of the ceremony to give it the same like theatrical weight as like you're like partying is still part of this. I hated going to these weddings where it's 15 minutes of ceremony that you're phoning in, and then you just forget about it all with the party, because for me, party was like part of the thing.
We did the venue we had and how I had set it up. We had the like simcha dancing before cocktail hour. So we did ceremony, and we told everybody, we're like, when we break the glass, you're going to go outside, you're going to start dancing. So we like broke the glass, the doors, like you could open the whole wall basically to go out onto the courtyard. And then we just did 30 minutes of dancing straight because I was like, well, one, it was just like made sense and possible. And I was like, why would the first thing I want to do after I get married be by myself?
Exactly.
I hang out with him all the time.
Yeah.
So much of weddings is based on 2 people who never knew each other.
Never touched.
And you've never touched and you've never met or lived together. And you're like, why would I need to go on a honeymoon? Why would I need to do yichud, which is like when you're alone together? Yeah. Why would I need to like just most of this stuff?
Yes.
It's like, oh, right. If I didn't know this person, this would be really helpful. But now it's just kind of silly because we just danced for 30 minutes. We were so excited. And we did undress in the yichud room, but because we were so sweaty from dancing, and I was like, I'm gonna vomit. That's too much exercise.
Wait, when did you do the yichud room?
We slept away. Snuck away. We like did this like dance for Joe's parents where we like put things on their head. It's like a Ashkenazi, like when it's your last child getting married, like tradition. And like he was the last kid getting married for them. So we like did this dance, and then we were just like, okay, bye. And we like left. Cocktail hour, meat station comes out, drinks are open, everybody's dancing. There's still music, and we like just disappear. And then we came back down, like didn't have a big entrance or anything. We just like walked back into the party.
It was really nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
I still have your doc saved. you sent out a document before the wedding,
how to come to how to have fun at a Jewish wedding.
And I was like, I'm saving this. I put it in a folder called My Wedding.
Amazing.
Which I have no plans for. Yeah. But I still have it. It was really beautiful, and I think you should share that.
I thought the most impactful, we were like, we're trendsetters. We're going to change the Jewish wedding world. And we were like,
absolutely.
We thought we were going to get it on the dancing right afterwards, but people are still very stuck on cocktail hour, being before dancing. Yeah. And
I don't think they do that in Orthodox weddings.
They go straight to Simcha dancing? No, because they go straight to Yichud.
They go Yichud room for a little bit, and then Simcha
but Yichud
dancing.
is like when you do cocktail hour, and then everybody else just has to be bored. And I was like, no. Yeah. I don't want anyone to be bored at my wedding.
Yeah.
But it turned out that the thing that impacted the most people was us walking around each other.
Yeah.
Because we like practiced and we like held hands and like looked at each other the whole time. And I was just like, yeah, that was natural. And then I went to one from someone who didn't come to our wedding, because afterwards everyone kept doing it because it's very sweet. And then they were just
the 3-3-1.
The 3-3-1, but also
let's explain to the listeners. So traditionally,
levels.
Yes, in Orthodox tradition, the bride circles the groom for 7 times, and what we're doing now, or egalitarian people are doing now, is like the one person circles 3 times, one person circles 3 times, and then they do a circle together.
That's what we did too.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of people just kind of like walk around each other. There's like a very solemn energy to it. And we were like, people were like, that was a little too intimate to do publicly. They were like, calm down.
You guys.
Yeah, they were like, I know this was your wedding, but like chill
you
out.
guys were, like fucking with it.
That's what people were like. They were like, that was like too intense.
It was hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the whole
and I
room
was like,
having sex with each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Lucky everyone.
Lucky
really lucky.
I think just if anyone is having a wedding, the goal should be to try to get as many people to hook up as possible.
And you did.
People
a very
were like,
good job.
what should I wear? And I said, I don't care, look hot.
Yes.
Perfect.
And that's the answer.
And your Tish at the beginning was also very beautiful.
It was very sweet.
Yeah.
Let's keep complimenting me.
Oh, I'll do it. No problem. The Tish in the beginning was joint Tish. What is it? How do you explain a Tish?
Great question. Tish means table.
Yes.
Which is helpful because it's like the visual you have to have is a bunch of Hasidic rabbis sitting around a table.
Mm-hmm.
And like in the middle of the table, like where you'd put the guest of honor is like the rabbi or whoever's hosting it. And everybody's like banging on the table and singing and drinking and eating snacks. And then people get up and give Dvar Torahs and they talk about Torah and they like sing songs and they teach new songs and they just like, so often men do that before their wedding and they like get a bunch of like people reading Torah. And
for other men, some people do it together, some people do it separate, and both have tishes because it's just nice to get a bunch of toasts and have a little like drink before your wedding. Yeah.
But it was very scheduled. It was like this person is speaking and then this person is speaking and then this person is speaking. And we split it up. We were like, and this is your friend and my friend and our friend and your friend and my friend and our friend.
And your brother.
And my brother. I mean, we had all 3 of our brothers.
Oh. You know, choreography and rehearsal goes a long way.
No rehearsal.
Oh,
just go for it.
Here's my question, because I know we have to wrap up, but final question for me is, what was the best song from the Tish?
Joe's 2 of his friends or 3 of his friends are like, or no, 2 of his friends are singer-songwriters, and he asked 2 other friends, one of those people, to like sing a song. Because I was like, you know, we don't have a lot of songs and not everybody needs to give a speech. You guys have like a lot of stories of like being in a car together singing songs. And so I was like, why don't you ask them to sing a song for you? And they wrote him a song instead and like came up and performed it. And he was like sobbing.
That's so nice. I was kind of hoping you were going to say one that you could then sing and teach us.
So, well, I mean,
so
like
your beautiful memory is like nice.
I think it just feels hard because most wedding singing is the exact same words to a song, just in different tunes. So the question is just like, which tune?
What's your favorite Jewish song? Or answer. Okay.
Good question.
Yeah.
These feel like.
No, okay. Shabbos table.
Yeah, Shabbos table.
What's the song you pick?
Shabbos table after dinner. I would have to look. Here, should we look at my bencher?
Yeah,
get
a bencher.
Bencher's here. Liana and Joe's bencher's here. I took a bunch of them.
A bencher is this little booklet. It's like a song book.
It has the blessing after the meal, and it also has a bunch of songs.
Yes, and it has kach sof.
This one has a lot of good stuff in it. It's kind of hilarious. Also,
that's a big deal for a bencher.
Yes, very hard.
This one's very Ashkenazi.
Yeah.
Songs for Shabbos.
Is this a bencher you stuck your name on, or a bencher you designed?
Stuck our name on.
Okay, great.
That would be insane.
But I could see of all people designing their own bencher, I feel like it could be you.
And it would be great.
My Yadi dude is too long. I think I like. Oh, why can't I find it? Sorry, this is so boring.
No, this is really important for me.
It is. For you.
Um.
And for our listeners.
Oh, sorry, I was in the wrong section.
Oh, how
my
embarrassing.
god.
She really isn't a rabbi after all.
Thank God. I really like Sur Michelot. That's what it is.
What? Can you sing your melody?
Sur Michelot achalnu barchu emunai savanu veotanu ki bar Adonai. Sur Michelot achalnu barchu emunai savanu veotanu ki bar Adonai. Na 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 ya na 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 ya na 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 na.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
it's a
good.
bop. It's a bop.
The first part of it, I feel like I recognize, but then you do the
The
second
chorus.
part.
Well, 'cause the chorus is-
and it felt like it was breaking
We're
up.
doing Zmiros on the podcast.
I think I also just like I love a harmony. And also,
Yes.
so a major problem in Jewish spaces is that men historically have led singing,
Bro.
and so all of the keys are off.
Yes.
Yes.
And it makes it really.
so hard.
I was so the Tish. I had a very hard decision to make, and I picked my friend, the bride's Tish, at this wedding the other weekend, and we were singing, and it was really good. And then all of a sudden, the person who was leading the singing was like, and just like went up a pitch, and the whole room erupted.
Oh my God.
And it was like, oh, here we are. Because it was the bride's Tish, so it was like a lot more women in the room, and so it was just like, oh, we don't sing in our key. Even we don't sing in our key. I just did it in an awful key for Sur Michelot.
Profound, Liana.
Yes, yeah. And so we really are struggling.
I need help with this because I'm not really huge. I don't know enough about keys and pitches and all that stuff. But
I just
love
guess.
help you with
singing.
that.
Please help me.
I think I just have like 30 years of being in rooms where people were singing in a pitch that did not work for me,
Yeah.
and being like, I want to sing so badly. Let me find a harmony.
It's funny how
we do that?
songs feel way more fun when they're in the right pitch.
Yeah.
And you have a whole new lease on a song when it's
Yeah.
in the right key for you.
And it's like I've seen it happen in rooms where like, you know, a man is leading and like 90% of the room is women, and I'm like, this is so boring because we are all unable to sing.
Let me tell you,
Or you're able to sing, but it's like you have to change.
I
the
have to go
pitch.
really high
Yes,
and really
I did.
low.
Gesher Sarmeod is
Cool.
I'm obsessed with that song, but it has a big range, and the men always pick it in the wrong key.
Yeah.
So when you're gonna
Yeah, too high.
and it's so not fun when you want to be like scream belting it.
The problem is that the inverse, they can't sing. Like I've
Yeah, well,
watched
fuck
it be,
them.
they also have the switch.
Yeah, no, it's true.
But so
They
I'm like,
can't,
there's
but,
not
like,
the medium. I have not found the perfect medium.
There isn't.
Because we're in these minor keys, and so it's like hard
There's
to
not a
There has
perfect
to be a
medium.
way.
The way is to
Harmonize.
is
It's
to
harmonize.
Harmonize.
But people
And
don't know how to
keep-
harmonize.
I don't know
Keep
how to
changing
harmonize.
keys.
Also, they don't know
give
how to
everyone
keep beat.
equality.
I love Jews so much, but my tiny Hamish shul is like,
God. Is that right? Oh,
like they just
my
can't
God.
keep the beat
That's
for
so
half a
true.
second.
Yeah, but you know, I think they're good at the beat at the Happy Minion.
Yeah, well, it's like the whole shtick.
Yeah,
is
they're
that
musicians.
They're musicians.
Yeah,
Though
yeah.
Joe's problem with them is that he feels like they start the right tunes like on the wrong moment. So he's like, your whole song is off. I'm singing the melody.
the
It's the
syllables
same
are
words.
wrong?
No, but like full, like yeah, like
yeah.
But he goes to B'nai David, right?
no. Mostly he goes to Shebel now.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
That's new.
Yeah,
You got him.
we got him.
How do you feel about that?
I love it.
Yeah,
I mean,
great.
I also love when he doesn't. I just like schmoozing, and so it's like he doesn't need to be there. But it's nice that he's coming
That's nice.
because we have a community. It's so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
B'nai David, do they do singing a lot or not? Oh, not so much.
I mean, there's just not a lot of singing on Saturday mornings.
Right.
You can make it singy, but even then, it doesn't feel like singing.
I agree that everyone is dropping the ball with their Saturday morning singing.
No, it would be too long. You can't. That's the problem. Like I like
at Happy Minion goes
there.
there too.
There are times where I'm like, yes, I'm super glad you're singing, and this is way more fun. But also like, come on,
But
it's
that's what
12.
Yeah.
I've been here since 9:30. We're gonna have to wrap this up a bit, and like that's what singing does on Saturday morning, whereas on Friday night, that's the whole point.
I think we need to go on a mission to figure out how to make the pitches work for everyone on the songs.
Yeah.
and you're gonna lead that,
Okay.
and I'm gonna be your co-pilot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be your second in command.
I love it.
Aye.
Liana, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
You're
Epic.
perfect.
You delivered on Liana. We had Torah, we had singing, we had sex, we had weddings.
Amazing.
This is huge.
It was
Yeah.
huge.
Like, I feel like a classic Yenta episode.
I completely agree.
Yes.
I mean, how do we even have another guest after Liana?
I don't know.
Third co-host. Because having 2 people to schedule with is not enough.
Bro, it's a lot of work.
I
It's so
don't have a
hard.
Tell you
podcast
about
for a
the
reason.
Excel document we've got.
Oh,
Oh boy.
If someone would do a podcast for me, I'd do it, but I wouldn't. I'm just like, absolutely not.
Oh
I
my
will not
God.
be doing any
Literally,
of the
I feel
work.
like we've now ended every podcast recently complaining about making a podcast.
should we quit?
No, because we're single-handedly healing the Jewish people. I think.
Amen.
Liana, do you want to plug anything?
I want to plug Torah Studio,
Torah
the torahstudio.org, Torah Studio on Instagram. We have a bunch of classes coming up, a bunch that are getting recorded, and they'll be, so like the fantasy one, if I don't know, like I said, I don't know when
Yes.
this comes out. If this is after, it'll still be up on the website. You can like download it, get the video and all of the, you'll like this one. We just did one on trans feminist neo-Hasidus
Wow.
Love
to heal misogynistic Torah.
Love.
Yeah. So amazing. And we're doing new classes. I'm teaching an intro to text study after the Chagim, after the high holidays. So if you're like, oh, I want to study, but I need to just feel like I have more context for like what these texts are and why and how to study them before I just jump in. That's what this is
And
for.
you can join from anywhere
Gorgeous.
in the world.
Anywhere. Yeah. It's all online, international.
it's
Europe.
huge.
Sorry, we don't have a lot of things where you're not asleep.
Zone-wise, yeah.
Australia, and you have a lunch break. Lots of people from Australia on lunch breaks.
There you go.
Gorgeous.
Okay. Patreon.com/Yenta. It really helps if you donate $3, $5. Do the free trial. Check it out. We have bonus episodes. We have unreleased episodes. We have uncut episodes.
Yep. And if you're still here, it means you love us.
Yeah.
So take this moment to write us a 5-star review. 5 stars only. Other stars don't matter.
Yeah.
5-star review and follow us on social media because right now our personal profiles have more follows than our Yenta profile, and that's embarrassing.
And why should they donate to the Patreon? What do they get?
Okay.
Or why does that I don't know. Help me.
Absolutely. If you donate to the Patreon, Raye will get air conditioning.
I need money to live. We need money to live. No,
Yeah.
we're losing a lot of money on this podcast, and it's a lot of work. So if you donate a little bit, it really helps. How's that for a pitch?
I feel like it's a little bit of a downer. How about we pitch it like this? If you pitch us money, it means we can level up all of the equipment that you see here. It means we can eventually make even more iconic queer Jewish content with even more iconic queer Jewish celebrities, and that's more for you and more for us.
Yeah, beautiful.
And we love you so much.
And go to torahstudio.com.
The torahstudio.org.
TheTorahStudio.org.
Bye.